The influence of women in the Lasallian mission. When St. John Baptist de La Salle lay on his deathbed on April 7, 1719, he had perhaps 100 men committed to this new educational venture. Today, there are more than 90,000 Lasallian partners worldwide, the majority of whom are women. Women continue to inspire, create, and revitalize the Lasallian mission, even as women were key in the early founding and sustaining of the Institute from its beginning. The scope and the potential of this change was reflected in 2010 in the words from Circular 461, associated for the Lasallian mission, An Act of Hope. Quote, "Just as more recently the education of both young men and women became the focus of the mission, so has the participation of women in the Lasallian educational network become essential. Their presence undoubtedly will help to construct a more humane and community-centered society, help to re-examine ways of thinking, help to situate the entire Lasallian world a bit differently in history, and help to organize social, political, economic, and religious life in a way that can be more intuitive and relational." Our Lasallian heritage is comprised of people who view life's events through the eyes of faith, were discerning of the wisdom revealed in a divine encounter, and strive to be faithful to the promptings of God in their life. The roots of the fundamental role of women can be found in the earliest accounts of influential people and relationships in the life of John Baptist de La Salle. This is a story that from the beginning is about such key people and encounters whose own lives, influence, and inspiration are essential in understanding the founder's relationship with God and the decisions he made by viewing all things through the eyes of faith. The ground is tilled for the seeds of faith. Perrette l'Espagnole, Maternal Grandmother. Perrette l'Espagnole was 36 years old when de La Salle was born April 30th, 1651. As his grandmother and godmother, she was a lifelong source of guidance and support. From the biographies of de La Salle, we know that she would read to him stories from the lives of the saints and teach him his prayers. Perrette was active in the social justice causes of her time, and there is no doubt that this had an influence on her grandson. When de La Salle suddenly found himself responsible for the care of his 6 orphaned younger brothers and sisters, she was the one who agreed to take them into her home until such time as he could attend to this new responsibility. She supported and encouraged him in his growing involvement with the establishment of schools and later with the community of brothers. When his other relatives openly complained about his vocational decisions, her support of him never wavered. When Perrette l'Espagnole passed on October 7, 1691, she left de La Salle a generous legacy to support his developing educational works. The seeds of faith are planted. Nicole Mouet de Brulette. Nicole Mouet de Brulette married Louis de La Salle in August of 1650. Louis de La Salle was a distinguished magistrate of the presidential court at Reims, who was highly respected, a devout Catholic, and known for his works of mercy and service. Nicole was born into French nobility, to a family noted, quote, "even more for its piety than for its nobility," end quote. In marrying de La Salle, she gave up title and prestige, but gained a life partner in faith and family. Throughout de La Salle's life, we see the influence of his mother's love and sacrifice, perhaps reflected in his selfless act of giving up his canonry to take care of the schools and giving away his inheritance during the Great Famine. The biographer Blanc attributes to Nicole the deep sense of the presence of God that was later to become an important element in the spiritual vision of her eldest son. This abiding sense is at the core of de La Salle's trust in divine providence, a trust reflected in his own life as well as the spiritual life of the early institute. The plant bears fruit. Madame Malefaire, benefactress. Madame Malefaire was a benefactress for the Sisters of the Infant Jesus, who ran a successful school for girls in Reims. and she wanted to establish a similar school for poor boys in her hometown of Reims. Quote, "Since it was Madame Malefaire who began crystallizing the plans of Providence in the life of Monsieur de La Salle, we should look upon her as the first instrument God was pleased to make use of to bring the Institute of the Brothers of the Christian Schools into existence." End quote. Madame Malefaire sought out a man who was well known for his expertise and zeal in establishing schools, Monsieur Adrien Niel. She entered into an agreement with Niel to be the benefactress of the new school. Upon his arrival at the convent of the Sisters of the Infant Jesus, Niel carried with him 2 letters of introduction, one for Mother Françoise, Superior, and one for de La Salle. It was on the doorsteps of the convent that on March 15, 1679, Adrien Niel encountered de La Salle for the first time. An introduction arranged by divine providence. Mother Françoise Duval. Mother Françoise Duval welcomed both men into the convent and introduced Adrien Niel to Father de La Salle. The next invitation of generous hospitality was a decision that would change the life path of St. John Baptist de La Salle, although he had no way of knowing it. Blain, de La Salle's biographer, reconstructs the response of de La Salle to Niel in these words, quote, "Come and live with me for a while. The house is large enough, and parish priests from the countryside often come there. You look something like a parish priest from the country, and people will think you are one of them." End quote. The 2 men met for over a week, consulting other trusted advisors regarding the school project. Thus the first Christian school for boys opened April 15, 1679, on the Rue Saint-Maurice in the parish of the same name. The vision, the hope, the dream that God inspired through the faith of Madame Malefaire became a reality. The plant grows deep roots. Catherine de Correa, benefactress. Catherine de Correa was an influential woman, widowed, wealthy, and pious, who was also a benefactress of the Sisters of the Infant Jesus. When she confided to Mother Françoise that she was suffering from a terminal illness and that her last wish was to establish a school for poor boys, Mother Françoise made arrangements for Catherine to meet with Adrien Niel. The meeting did not go as planned. Catherine was aware of de La Salle, who she learned had been involved in the opening of a school, and therefore requested a meeting with him. She was more than impressed with de La Salle and insisted that he be involved in the establishment of the school. De La Salle agreed to take primary responsibility in the establishment of the parish school at St. James, which opened September 1679. De La Salle's commitment to become more involved in the establishment of schools and the formation of teachers set his life on a course he could not have imagined, but the seeds of faith were bearing new fruit. Do not abandon the harvest. Sister Louise Oars, mystic. February of 1714 was a time of deep spiritual unrest for de La Salle. He sought sanctuary at a monastery in Parmeny, where he encountered Sister Louise Oars. In her youth, she was a shepherd girl who answered a call from God to rebuild the abandoned monastery at Parmeny. When the letter of 1714 from the brothers arrived for de La Salle, requesting that he return to the fledgling society and take up, once again, his place as superior, it was Sister Louise who directed him to return to the work that God had called him to. In the online resource, In the Footsteps of de La Salle, it is noted, quote, "There is good reason to suppose that if this providential encounter had not taken place, de La Salle's work might have perished." End quote. Women and Association, bearing fruit today. Since the publication of Circular 461, there have been 4 women's symposiums held throughout the Institute. Addressing those gathered at the 2017 Women's Symposium in New Zealand, Brother Superior General Robert Sheeler stated, quote, "You Lasallian women with your diverse experiences, gifts, perspectives, tenderness, and empathy are helping all of us to convert and believe in the gospel. You are assisting the Holy Spirit in the transformation of the Lasallian mission as it strives to be a beacon of hope and a witness to the reign of God, especially to our students who are blocked from living lives to the fullest." End quote. As women were instruments of God's divine providence at the founding of the Institute, may Lasallian women today continue to be faithful to the call of divine providence, that, together and by association with the entire Lasallian family, we serve as a great source of hope for our world today. Initiatives are in place, and new initiatives are being developed in Lasallian ministries throughout the world to support women. Here are just a few innovative examples. Lasallian Women of Hope is an international project of De La Salle Solidarity International. It assists girls and young women in our Lasallian family to overcome obstacles that would prevent them from gaining full access to a Lasallian education. The inaugural project is the PAD project, which will provide resources to address the need for access to monthly personal hygiene products for young women, thereby affording their consistent and continuous access to education. Several higher education institutions in the Lasallian region of North America offer centers dedicated to the empowerment of women. St. Mary's College of California offers the Center for Women and Gender Equity, which seeks to support women and those across the gender identity spectrum in their college experience and with post-college plans. It seeks to address marginalization and disparities in resources, support, access, and opportunities based on gender and/or sexual orientation, racial, cultural, religious, or ideological identities through thoughtful dialogue, discussion, programming, and advocacy. The Lasallian Women and Gender Resource Center at Manhattan College in Riverdale, New York, is an inclusive space designed to centralize resources, support, and advocacy for students having experiences related to gender and sexuality, including sexual assault prevention and gender justice. The center is a response to student advocacy. It is designed as a site of collaboration and solidarity between students, faculty, and the Office of Student Life, as well as the broader community. The Center for Women and Diversity at Christian Brothers University in Memphis, Tennessee, strives to increase representation of women from racial and ethnic minorities by creating awareness, promoting interest, and inspiring young women to consider STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, as majors in college, and STEM careers, to prepare current female engineering students for professional STEM careers, and to create a successful pipeline from K through 12 through college graduation in STEM majors. The Association of Lasallian Mothers of Education in the District of Congo-Kinshasa identifies and addresses obstacles that prevent children from receiving a Lasallian education. The efforts started in Burkina Faso by bringing together teachers who were mothers and mothers of the students in order to ensure the education of the whole child. The collaboration encouraged consistency between what was being taught and developed, both in school and at home. The Association of Lasallian Mothers of Education was established using the Burkina Faso effort as an inspiration.